Hello, everybody. How are we all today? Hope we are doing good. Uh, you know what? Let's start with prayer. Lord, thank you for a good day. Let us let's have a good stream. Bring a whole bunch of people in if you could, please, and have a good chatting. Let me get some decent stuff done. Um, we'll chat about whatever. And yeah, I guess that's good for now. We'll give some prayer requests at the end. And let me share this out as well. Um, okay, so what we have here is Kroger. Um, Unlike what we got here for the most part, I'm just trying to think whether I want to go over it again. Hey, Axel. Hey, Mike. How are you guys? Thank you for dropping in and hitting the like, saying hi, and all that. Is that a pig? No, it's supposed to be more of a frog. Is the volume low? It shouldn't be. How's that? Is that better? It's a frog, but not a frog. It's the guy calls himself Frogger. Oh, and I know. Also, my mic is not in the right spot either. Is that better now? No, that is not a pig. It's the guy is called Frogger. Um, he leaps. It's hard to see his feet. There we go. Yes, Ricky Clean. Yeah, is Mr. Clean your younger brother? No. Yeah, as you can tell, I got myself a haircut yesterday. Well, you might not know it was yesterday, but yes, it was yesterday. Frogger, yes. That is this guy's name. Like Pac-Man. I'm not sure what you mean, like Pac-Man, by a character named Frogger. Or unless you mean the video game Frogger. That's where I would have gotten the name, yes, but not Frogger. Ricky Clean is a mafia name. He cleans up after. That's what I gotta do next time I'm at my storage unit. Is actually get a picture of the original look that I had for Frogger. Totally different. So today I also got for those that didn't see, he sounds nice, but it's brutal. I got between today and yesterday I got two new pages for Canadian Shield 3. So we are technically 4 pages from it being finished. So here's page 21. Yeah, we can do that. Get a corner booth. So yeah, this is cool, cool, cool. Is that a place by yourself or so this is page 21 and here's page 22. This year it's all Plastic City Comic Con. I rent a room. Ah, so like me. How big is your room? But it's in the town where I work. Well, that's good. So 23 is going to be the last page, but then we also have 3 pages that I gotta need to get them to do a mock-up of for doing uh he's fighting the villain Absorb before Absorb actually gets his real suit. This is just after Absorb learns he's got his powers. He's killed somebody, and Canadian Shield is dealing with the consequences of that. So he fights like Zangief. Well, this is here. Canadian Shield is catching him. He was supposed to be by the foot, but I think I put that in. And they're supposed to be, I said 250 feet in the air, but I think I'm going to make it a lot more than that because he just, it's a silhouette still. Yes, it is, Gemini. It will be, it's Thursday night, 7 o'clock. Um, I know that I know what the topic is. I, or I'm pretty sure I said a topic 2 Thursdays ago. But I forget offhand. I'm gonna check out the video, from it, the other, from it from 2 weeks ago, the last one. See what I said, and then I'm gonna have that going. So yeah, here they're supposed to be about 200 feet in the air, 250 feet. I'm probably gonna make that more like 10,000 feet or something like that, up like a mile or two. 250 feet. It's a lot, but it's not a lot really. And then they're gonna free fall. He's gonna arch them backwards, so they end up falling down towards the ground. Canadian Shield ends up facing towards the ground, and as they hit the ground, Canadian Shield takes the brunt of it. So, Absorb does not. Larson Winters, that's who Absorb's real name is. Larson doesn't get too hurt. So, and by small, you say small, like, yeah, I'd say mine's small too. But yeah, my place is 8 foot wide by 11 feet long. Probably the ceilings are like 8 foot. You know how long and wide your room is? Did it come furnished or not? Mine came partially furnished. Came furnished with a bed, a dresser, and the table that I put my computer on. It was me. I was able to, well, obviously bring my TV, bring a couple of, I was going to say, bookshelves and a cabinet. But that's a nice little praise report, being able to have your own place. What, how long were you looking before you found a place that you could afford? So how was people's weekend? Hey, Manticore, is that the Rick Piper? I'm the Rick Piper. Yes, but what I'm drawing is not me. I think he grew. I think the hair grew in a little. Yeah, just a little. How are you, Alpha? How are you, Manticore? Good to see you. Hopefully. Yeah, I'm doing not too bad. I like the new look. I'm finishing dinner. Oh, that's good. So that is what happens when you genetically modify corn too much. What are you talking about, Tim? So what are we looking at? I am going over from couple weeks ago. Now, my character Frogger, just trying to make the lines a little better. Um, and then we're gonna try and flip him. We're gonna copy this, move it over, flip, try to do the back, and then we want to do the side view. We are trying to do. I'm slowly trying to get some turnarounds for my characters. Do you usually use the mapping pen? Um, yeah, it's so. I've tried a few different ones. And why? What would you suggest? I know this is what Dillard uses. I like the smoothness of it. Like I tried using the real gel pen, but the edges are a bit rough. We got the G. Oh, that's smoother. He looks like a reptile from Mortal Kombat Deadly Remove. I found the mapping pen to be more precise. Of course, we've seen the whatever. Use whatever you're comfortable. I use which is the one that I'm about to use. It seems good. I haven't really played with them all that much. Calligraphy. That's nice. It's just a little too wide, in my opinion. Textured pen. A little too rough on the sides. Um, it may be the sensitivity settings. For what? G Pen is most people's go-to. Well, I'm gonna finish this one with the mapping pen. The next one I redo, I'm gonna probably try that the one that you said you were using, the turnip. Is that what it says? Turnip or tablet? Yeah, like the root. Okay. Although I think it's spelled a little different. I found increasing the sensitivity set. Uh, yeah, I have a tablet that I actually draw on. Like, there's my setup. There's what I'm drawing on, and of course, there's my computer behind it. Here's my pen. Yeah, well, I haven't really experimented a lot with the different features I've asked to come. Well, I asked John Dillard, about it, which one he uses, because he seems to get some pretty good results. Here, let's, for a second here, let's add a layer. Should this frog have around it? Should this frog character have round fingertips like the frog? I never thought of that. Well, nothing. Okay, so that's why I like you and I. Yeah. Well, sometimes I hire artists sometimes to do everything. Blah. I do both. I hire and I do stuff myself. Yeah, I know under yeah pen pressure strength. Uh, you can adjust it and all that, but I don't need to do anything with that. Let's go back to 4. I never really thought about his fingertips. I don't know why I always just assumed to make them a little pointy. I'm holding up pretty good. Herman, how are you? Indeed. Someone needs to be the bridge to bring the inspiration and transmute it into gold, Tim Lafferty. I don't know why I was thinking frog hands would be more pointed. Yes, gold to rule the world and Cleveland. Fortune and glory. Yeah. So this is actually the villain for issue 4 of the Canadian Shield. Um, Alpha Proto there in the chat will be doing that book. It's something that he's going to probably. Do we really need another frog? Yeah, well, this is a villain frog. This isn't a good frog, and he's actually human, made a bit frog-like by eating some not so good uh, frog legs. No more frog cyber or Kermit or frog Tonys. I'd say I created this before Cyberfrog was created, but I'm not sure. Like, I don't know when the original Cyberfrog came out. Cyber. Uh, 96 is when the first issue of Cyberfrog came out. So my Frogger could have been created around then. Could not have. I'm not sure. I know I have stuff that goes back to the beginning of the 90s. Cybergator, Cyber Mantis, Cyber Snake, Cyber Newt, a 90s character. Yeah, but I was looking for a specific year in the 90s. I was pretty sure it was 90s Alpha. Talk Shocktopus. Okay. If you don't say so. If you don't use that, I will. I got a toxic co. You can have toxic shocktopus. Uh, I came up with that years ago. Never thought it was a great idea. Yes, he appeared in Zed and Odysseus #1. The best cyborg is obviously Roborick. Oh, if I take the guide off. Uh, the cyborg who wants to die but can't. That was not. It would. It would make for a good comic for all. What would make for a good comic for all ages? Toxic Shocktopus? Because I'm just trying to make sure we're all talking about the same thing here, because some ways it didn't seem like we were, and I was right. Yeah, I can make a highly not appropriate. Yeah, I can make that. Okay, so let's see. Like Earthworm Jim. Well, make it, Manticore. Unless, since Tim came up with the name, unless he won't let you. Yeah, the octopus. So there is a front view of Yeah, I have characters with tentacles. Here, let me show you a couple of them. Uh, Here's one of them. Squid. Sort of my Dr. Octopus. Although not a genius. And then where's my other one with tentacles? If you want to call them tentacles, of course. Yeah, it's a woman. Probably not my best drawn woman. I'm slowly getting better. And horsefly. Wonder what the difference between these two is. Except that the one's drawn a little better. Unlike octopuses, squids actually have tentacles. An octopus technically just has arms. I see what you mean, Metal. You're drunk. Are you drunk? Are you seeing double? Is it moving? Interesting design for what? Which one? Manticore? It's so broken. I've never been drunk before. Neither have I, Alpha. The gas. Oh. Horsefly. Let's see whether I can bring up. See. There's horsefly. Uh, wait. Oh, the fly. I see it now. Huh. It was just horsefly. Virginia Campbell. She's 5'9", 150 pounds, 15 pounds, and a professional assassin. She has no group affiliation. Her city of residence is Mobile. She's single, dirty blonde hair, green eyes. She first appears in Snowdrift #3. Virginia was born to unknown parents and abandoned on the steps of an orphanage. While there, she was teased by the other children. At the age of 5, she ran away because of the teasing. Coming upon a train yard, she climbed into an empty freight car to find several hobos. The hobos take her in as one of their own. One of the hobos was a long washed up PI who had decided to ride the rails. Now a grizzly old man, he shared all his stories to anybody who would listen. Virginia saw the old man like a grandfather and hung on his every word. So she heard all his stories 100 times over. This created a special bond. No, she's single. Get paid in my stash. No, you just have to get paid to be assassinating people. Almost selective. Yeah. Um, 100 times over. This created a special bond between them. As she grew older, she asked him more details about everything in the story. She would ask him about all that he knew. The wash-up PA had a vast knowledge of weapons, which he imparted to her. However, when she was 15, she witnessed the old man's senseless murder at the hand of two-bit thugs. With the man being so dear to her, she swore to avenge his death. So to do this, she decided to learn more about the weapons he told her about and any other weapon. Um, I wouldn't say she's Batman. Being in the big city at the time, she goes to the library and starts on her quest. She learns all about all kinds of weapons, where to find the masters of the various weapons. At this, she starts to travel the world in hopes of learning to master all the weapons she can. I guess there is a bit of Batman in her. That now she has to stop crime. No, she becomes a professional assassin. um, in her travels, she learns that poisons can be a very useful weapon. So Virginia decides to learn all she can about poisons as well. When she finally satisfied she knows enough to complete her task, Virginia then sets out to find the murderers of the man that was so dear to her. Upon finding and killing the people responsible for the old man's death, Virginia found that the killing of these men gave her a high, and that it was so simple with all her knowledge and skills. This brings her to the decision to hire herself out as an assassin. Over time, she realizes she needs a persona so people will know her work, and a disguise so she can be free to spend her money without anyone recognizing her. Remembering something that caught her eye while scanning an encyclopedia, she decides to fashion her look and persona after that. After gathering the materials and designing her costume and putting it together, she decides to adopt the name of that which her look and persona, from that being horsefly, a horsefly. That is so not Batman. Why didn't she learn to say what Batman did? Because she's a different person? Well, it's not like she couldn't end up doing something similar to that. An asset thing. Let's see. Horse powers and skills. Horsefly has excellent hand-to-hand combat skills. In her travels, she's learned various forms of fighting to train herself to be a weapon in and of herself. She's also learned and near mastered almost all kinds of weapons. If there is a weapon she has yet to master, she's in the process of mastering it. Virginia also knows how to make use of any form of poison. She knows also what the various poisons will do. I haven't had her do that. But it's not like I can't do it. She shoots stuff from her gauntlets there. So she could shoot acid pellets from them. Squid. Jackie Elizabeth Rosedale. 5'5", 112 pounds. I don't have an occupation here for her. Group affiliation none. City of residence, don't have that. Marital status unknown. Hair bald. Eyes yellow. First appears in The Flame number 16. No, she does not eat shit. History. Little is known. Little is known of Jackie's childhood. What is known of Jackie is that she was once a bag lady, street person. She was young and good looking, good look, and could have made a living as a hooker, but she'd rather suffer than go through life like that. Now, being on the street, she would frequent soup kitchens and places like that, and well, there she would keep to herself, never getting involved with anyone there. One stormy night, thugs of a local underground crime boss, after having staked out the soup staked out the soup kitchens for perfect candidates that no one would miss, conclude that Jackie was just such a person. So they grabbed her and throw her in the back of a van and then knock her out. Within an hour, she woke to find herself in a tank filled with water, naked, and a breathing mask strapped to her face. As she looked around, she noticed all kinds of tubes stuck into her. Yeah, well, she could, but doesn't. Stuck into her in different places, and that the top of the tank had been capped off. As she looked closer at the tube stuck into her, she notices a kind of silver liquid flowing through them into and into her at an incredible rate. The silver liquid suddenly stopped flowing and was replaced by a dark blue gaseous substance pouring into the tubes and into her. Unknown to her, the silver liquid was some sort of liquid metal, and the dark blue gas was radioactive. The scientists doing this believed the radioactive gas would fuse the liquid metal with her body. A little Wolverine there. This is. I'm on Squid. I'm no longer talking about Horsefly. With everything stopped flowing into her, an unexpected transformation begins to occur. Her head began to change its shape. At this, she screams and screams horrible, and with the scream came forearms coming out. Forearms coming out of, well, not so much arms, tentacles, I guess, or whatever you want to call them, out of her back and crashing through the glass tank. With all the water gone out of the tank, and Jackie laying on the floor of the tank, screaming in pain, Ralph, aka Acer, who was to the side watching all this, rushes over to her side and tries to calm her before she goes on a rampage and destroys anything more. He manages to keep her calm and quiet for a few days, during which he convinces her to work for his underground criminal organization, at which time he hands her a costume and tells her her code name will be Squid due to her new abilities and her now oddly formed head. Canadian scientists love abducting people and putting them in tubes to do experiments. We're going to Canada. Powers and skills. Though not the best fighter when she first got her powers, Squid has become a very good hand-to-hand combatant through practice and experience. Squid can form 4 other arms that are made of a liquid metal that is stored in her skin. At the end of each arm, she has learned to shape and form a variety of things, such as a hand and even razor sharp knives. And when opening a hole through the whole metal arm, she can shoot a black mist to a black blob at things and hardens quickly when reaching something solid. She has better powers than Dr. Octopus. I'm pretty sure that's what Alpha meant. That she has better powers than Doc Ock. Eh, Not control. Line. No, she's a villain. Squid is a villain. She works for a criminal organization. Why do all your villains have a hero origins? What do you mean? How is? What do you mean by hero origin stories? She was abducted and experimented on. And she's a street person. How is that a hero origin story? And Horsefly, she runs away from home, an orphanage. She's abandoned, goes into a foster care or an orphanage, runs away from it because of being teased, ends up with some hobos, and then sees her grandfather figure killed. That's what happened to Wolverine. So hobos made her evil. Not hobos. Guy's killing a hobo. See, Horsefly, I'm talking Horsefly right this second. I was talking about both of them, but Horsefly says she's going to avenge the death by getting the murderers. Batman, or Bruce Wayne, says he's going to avenge the death of his parents by not making sure that doesn't happen to anybody else. I'm almost using more the reverse, the Earth 3 for her. And then Squid, well, the guy that captured her, or not the guy, but the guy that had the guys capturing people, is the one that convinces us to do the crime stuff. He's a villain. He's one of my crime bosses, like Kingpin, or I'd say Lex Luthor. I'm not sure who else to compare him to. I have 3 or 4 crime bosses. All right, next. What is Taranto? I have never heard of Taranto. Whiny Peg? What is Whiny Peg? You mean you're an artist, not a speller? Did you mean Toronto, not Taranto? Because Toronto is Toronto. That's what we say. Yeah, y'all. Or y'all from Toronto. Hey, Ranto. Oh, I showed these earlier. So, for those that might be interested, some people saw this. I showed this yesterday. Some people saw it, some people didn't. This is page 21 of Canadian Shield 3. Should actually be holding his foot, not his knee, but Canadian Shield did not feel a thing. Um, yeah. On the other hand, Absorb or Larson Winter did. And here is page 22, which I got today. So this is 4 pages from being done. now we're going to have to take out these feet. And put them in the reverse way. Could possibly not go as well as I'd like. He's close to done. I had better speed up. What? Oh, yeah. Well, you have a little bit to wait. I have to do the campaign for him. But yeah, the faster you can get that done, I think you're more thinking about doing number 4 because after that we got Snowdrift 2 to do and the campaign for it, and Flame 1 to do, and the campaign. Before we're doing Canadian Shield 4. You know what? I like that. But you know what? I don't. Uh, so let's see. But yeah, he's been going fast the last couple weeks. Okay, it's not perfect. Do you have an? Do I have any new AI image? um, well, it depends on how you define new. I've got stuff that I did a month ago that I haven't put up yet. I gotta start putting up videos for that more closely. I'm trying to categorize them. Actually, I got one that I did through a different site. I took this Hulk walking thing, and I took an image of the Canadian Shield, and I did it. I gotta see whether I can find it. Media source. I think I would have put it in the video. Hopefully. Or did I put it in the cross? Here it is. Well, we'll be in a sec, anyways. Start it from the beginning. So it's something that I was trying to do with Canadian Shield a while back. I took a I took a picture of Canadian Shield, like just one of the ones that you've seen, and I took this gift of the Hulk, which was very short as you saw, and they made it into a 5-second clip. But I'm gonna put that in one of them. I tried to take an Iceman one from the old X Men game, and make it into Snowdrift, but that did not turn out well. I'll show you here's the old Iceman one that I tried to use for Snowdrift, but it did not turn out well. I did two of them. With that, here's one. Here's the first. I'm not sure which one was first and which one wasn't. I might be showing them out of order, but yeah, just does something right here at her hand, and here's the other one that I did with Snowdrift, or that it did with Snowdrift. I was hoping that it would replace Snowdrift with so as you can see, not the best. Yeah, it didn't work as well, and I ran out of credit for that one, and uh, so those will get shown up in something probably in about a month or something like that. And so tomorrow I'm probably gonna have two videos up. I'm gonna do chapter 3 of Genesis. Probably tomorrow read that, and then I'm also gonna get one of those, get a new CGI thing up, or AI animation up. So there we go, Frogger front and back. Now I gotta do the hard work. Sideways. That's with layer. We'll take layer 6 here. Does he have hair? No. Before he got his transformation took place, he did. He'd have less hair than me. Maybe you could have a film of hair, but it doesn't grow. What what would you call that on his head? I don't. I'm not sure. Sort of a wait. Almost not quite a fin, but something along that lines. A crest, maybe a horn, because it does go from about here on the back. Those are supposed to be his ears. That's the back of his ears. That's the his skin is folding like a frog. I guess I almost did half. Um, I had a tail on him once upon a time, so I guess I did half full grown frog, half tadpole, is what I was thinking. See, that is. So there's, like a tadpole. No, I don't see what it. So you have this. Or what? Pollywog could be similar. Are they? I was. They're similar, aren't they? This is for the common frog. Copy. Here's another one from the 10-day-old tadpoles. I'd like to get some better shots, but when I go to images, giving me something that I don't want. There's another one. Tadpoles are black. Some of them, obviously, That one is. That one is. Maybe it's just something here, but this one obviously wasn't. But yeah, usually that's what I think of when I hear tadpoles about them being black. So that's probably what I was thinking, or I'm thinking that I was thinking. So this is not going to be exact at the moment. Okay. Uh, okay, so that is a little leaning a little too far forward for me. So let's rotate him a little. There we go. Well, we got about another half hour, so to work on this. Add another layer here. I gotta figure out how to do those these folds, if you will, from a side view. I had some pictures where I've done them from the side before. I can't wait. Hopefully, I get my hard drive back soon and to bring in some of the pictures I have of them. Oh yeah, I forgot to put the one. Oh, jeez. I forget so much sometimes. That could help in doing some stuff, making a look at the back better, even the feet. Now I did this two different ways his head. Okay, so if we go by the one there, which I do in some ways want to, okay, we'll take 5. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to take this. You still here? Anybody still here? Hey, Fitchozo, how are you? Well, I'm I'm not opposed to having guests, but I'm probably going to be shutting down in about 12 minutes. Are you or are you saying you're actually in no, you know. But how are you doing today, Fitzchozo? Oh, there's more than that there. I gotta kill. Okay, lined up for next week better. uh, on there. Hey, give me a sec. Hmm, hmm. I wasn't sure whether you were actually coming in for the last 12 minutes or not. No, 8.
Oh, can you hear me?
Hello.
Can't hear me.
I can barely
Okay.
hear you. Let's see whether.
I'm still waiting for you to respond. You to respond. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Oh, oh, give me now. Oh, hear me now. Okay.
Uh,
Okay, got it. One thing's been puzzling me since very early on this year was I recently discovered that there are no children's anime in Japan. Um, please, did you find that strange? Like they kind of stopped making
in fact.
what?
Okay.
Yeah.
There. Can you hear me? Can you see
Yeah, yeah,
me?
I could hear. I just couldn't see to now on Discord. On Discord, I mean. Um, but I noticed that they stopped making anime aimed at children after the 70s
Um, I don't
for the
know.
most part.
I'd
It's
say
kind of
My
weird.
Hero Academia is an anime for kids, or sort of. I'm not sure.
Exactly. I literally only found one anime made the past 5 years with a target audience younger than 14.
I'm not sure whether I'd say any. It's hard to say whether any would be targeted for younger than 14. Um, well,
That's the thing.
heck, I'm not sure what. Yeah, I guess some of Smurfs and that, some of the stuff in the 60s, 70s. I'm not
No,
sure what.
I said, no, Smurf's not an anime.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to compare it to Western stuff.
Well, see, the thing is, most anime, okay, most anime, we have Kodomo manga, which is made for kids who are just learning how to read. And then you have stuff aimed at teenagers, and then there's nothing in between.
Yeah.
You don't
Oh,
have any.
okay. Alpha Proto said, "What do you mean?" I'm not sure what that statement was for. And Alpha says they have Pokemon, Doraemon. I think he means Digimon.
Doraemon. Doraemon came out in the late 70s,
He
and that's
said
yeah.
Hello Kitty.
Like yeah, let's see what Hello Kitty's more. Okay, I gotta explain this. What is an anime aimed at 11-year-olds? Okay, nobody can answer that question because they don't make any anime aimed at children who are older than 8, but still young, but still not in high school yet. Also,
He's
it's just
saying
all anime just seems
Medabot,
14 plus.
Zach Bell.
Uh, again, you only mention stuff from '90s and before, like nothing after 2005.
Beyblade. Let's see. Anime.
That's kind of thing. Like, there aren't any children's anime. It kind of stumps me. Like, the reason why I'm looking is that I'm just tired of softcore porn. So, was kind of what you get because all anime is just
here,
centered around high school.
okay, I just looked up here. Here are 25. It says here are 25 safe, suitable animes for your children to watch. Let's see. Naruto, 11 years and older. Says for Card Chapter, for 8 years and older.
Yeah. They kind of stopped in 2005, and then just stopped making them entirely.
My Neighbor Totoro, that's for
Which is a
40.
movie. It's not a series. It's a movie.
Okay, well, it's for 4 years and older.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I
yeah.
had
There's a
two.
huge jump in
Uh,
anime artists. Like they just, yeah,
Akakuma.
they make stuff aimed at children who just learning how to read Japanese, like 6, 7, 8 year olds, and then they jump just straight to 14 plus. Oh, and it's all about teenagers and their sexual adventures and whatnot.
Little Witch Academia. I tell it, and that's for 8 years and older.
Mhm. Yeah, it's just so rare.
Bakuman, that's 12. Last Exile, eight says television series, 8 years and older. Fairy Tale, that's 14.
Exactly. Like fairy tale, I think it's based partially around sex.
Palm Popo, it's, well, that's a movie. Spirited Away, that's for 8 years and older.
Yeah, that. Yeah, that's yeah, but yeah,
Ponyo,
like they don't know. Yeah, they are, yeah, but they don't really, yeah, exactly. But I know, but like, yeah, they don't really ain't children's anime and manga. It's just so rare in comparison to just this like high school sex stuff. That's it.
Alpha says Yu-Gi-Oh! And Sonic X. Yokai Watch, that says
Yo,
seven.
Yokai Watch.
That says
Yeah,
7 years and older.
Yeah, it's Yokai Watch. Yeah. I've been to that.
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Which is American.
Azuma 11. The Legend of
The Zuma
Korra.
11. Was Legend of Korra is American. Yeah, it
Uh,
was the sequel to Avatar: Last Airbender.
hmm, hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of the thing. Like the children's anime just they don't even make them anymore. They just kind of stop at a certain point. It's,
Yeah, well, there's good old ones, right? Astro Boy.
mm,
Pokemon, again, as Alpha says again. Digimon.
yeah, so that's the weird thing.
Hmm.
Because yeah, if you don't know, people tend to go. I don't know. People tend to complain about a lot of my stories. You know, heavily. I can't get. I mean, I can't get a book funded because nobody wanted Goofanoid at all.
Yeah.
That's one of my characters, one of my comic book I try to fund.
Alpha says the birth rate in Japan is dropped. Not a lot of kids. Most people in Japan are older.
Mm, mm, exactly. Why? Yeah. So why like all shown is aimed at teenagers and nothing else. And
Oh,
like these literally like literally just only aimed at a 14 to 16 in the graphic and there's nothing else.
what about Sailor Moon? Although that's older.
Like
Or
yeah, most shown is just aimed at 14 plus. That's it. It's just obviously about sex and whatnot.
yeah, not even well, not, well, not necessarily sex, but a lot of say a lot of the Disney stuff, which is aimed at kids. Um, you know, you have stuff for adults and kids in it. It's so the adults will get something out of it.
But in case of anime, there's nothing for younger kids at all. It's usually just highly almost like almost porn, not quite.
Yeah,
That's how most supposedly children's anime is. Was kind of
yeah.
with me out. I was like, huh?
Well,
And also,
I
it
don't know
also is
what to
always in high
say
school.
about that. You know,
That
really.
that's just
I'm not well versed on a lot of anime myself.
mm.
Uh,
So. But if you don't know, you remember I mentioned I tried to find a comic called Goofy before, right? I guess some people here probably know that, right?
maybe I think I remember slightly.
Yeah, about 5 years ago,
uh,
about 4 years ago. They didn't fund, never funded. I never got to make it.
uh, yeah, I know what that's like. My first time I tried crowdfunding, I didn't make it. You just gotta. The thing is, the basic thing, you gotta build up an audience, and sometimes it takes a while to build up an audience. Trust me, I know. I've been trying for 6 years to get over 1,000 subs, and I'm at in the 840s right now, so coming close to hitting the 850s. But
Mm.
you know,
Nah,
but it can
but
be hard.
but my stories tend to get heavily criticized because what I choose to make stories about.
Yeah,
So, like, Gryffindor was a kind of superhero. Nobody wanted that,
you just
but
gotta find the right audience, and sometimes
uh,
that's hard.
uh, I want to write the story about the some 12-year-old boy makes a deal with a fairy godmother and becomes a were tiger that goes around killing people,
Uh,
which which apparently everyone says is a bad idea for some reason.
well, probably the killing people and all that would probably most likely be it.
Yeah, but why is that an issue? It's like,
Well, if it's supposed to be the quote unquote hero of the story, the good guy of the story, I'm not sure how you want to put it.
but he kills bad guys. That's kind of thing.
Yeah, well, uh, that it can be could be good. You just have to set it up good, write it good, you know. See, you're just saying the premise, and sometimes premises need work. I'm not sure exactly what. Alpha saying as long as they're not human and there's no blood, it's okay. Yeah, you know. And I guess it depends on.
Oh, Tiger Man is gonna be tons of blood. So
And the question is you know this 12-year-old boy, does he realize what's happening while he's this tiger guy? And if he does, is
yes,
he
he has all his memories. He has all his memories from when
does
he's that
he
Tiger
have
guy.
any sort of remorse that he's killing people, whether they're good guys or bad guys? Does he struggle with that?
Yes, he does have remorse.
Yeah. See, these are all things that you gotta have to think about.
Hmm.
You know, when telling people the, you know, if you just tell, oh yeah, I want to do a story about a 12-year-old kid that turns into tiger, a tiger guy, a were tiger, and kills people. Well, just hearing that, that's going to be off-putting to a lot of people, just because a 12-year-old kid killed going around killing people, whether he's a were tiger or not, you know, does he try and stop himself from killing people? Does he, what forces him to kill these quote unquote bad guys? You know, you've got
And
to,
then initially does try to what I'm trying to set up the stories that initially does try to not kill people at all, but eventually but he decides that there are really some really bad people around. He says, okay, it's okay to kill them.
yeah. And you know, I'm asking these questions or whatever, saying this stuff, but the thing is, in some ways, you don't really have to answer me, but these are the things that you have to think about when you're telling people about the initial thing, because people, not everybody is going to be like me and ask a lot of questions. They're just going to be off put by the whole idea. So you've got to make sure you let them know other parts of the story. Yes, he's conflicted at first or whatever, but he ends up thinking the bad guys, you know, you know, then he's not really that conflicted, or and why he goes out doing it. And like I said, these aren't questions that you have to answer myself to me, but maybe other people or whatever, you know. But there's also, if you haven't thought about them, ones that you got,
I have thought about them.
yeah.
I actually wrote like a test script of it, but you told me it's bad. But
That's an R-rated story you're telling. Well, it depends on how he depicts everything too, Alpha. Depends on how he
no, it is
shows.
an R-rated. No, it's going to be an R-rated story. The stuff I describe is just too gruesome for it not to be not to be.
Yeah, well, it depends. You know, like you could start off by showing, you know, the kid turning into the werewolf, meeting up with whatever bad guy, and then the next morning they find this bad guy dead. You know, you don't actually show show that, and then the consequences him finding out, figuring out it's him that did it, blah blah blah. You know, you don't have to show the necessarily all the violence at first. You know, I'm not sure how to put it, but it's up to you. It's your story. You know, you just got. But if you want that type of story, you've got to realize that you have to find the audience for that. There a lot of people I think that you hang out with, and I at least from what I've seen, who you hang out with, are probably it's probably not going to be a story that they're into. So you know, like some ways it seems like it could be a story I could be into, or could not. It's hard to tell for me. With just a little bit that we went over. Uh, and I can't say for everybody else for sure, but a lot of people
No,
would be.
but I would check the comments. I don't want to do that because I don't want to hear your audio on microphone at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
Because what's Alpha Pro say again? What's people in the chat
Well,
say?
nobody really in the chat besides Alpha Proto at the moment. Uh, and he said blood automatically puts it in a much higher rating. Even PT-13 cat shows too much blood. PT-13 you can dismember and decapitate people, but not show blood. Yeah,
No. I'm gonna build up to the violence. In the first story, a graphic novel I plan to write, I'm gonna build up to the climax, the violence. Because there's no violence in the story up until the climax.
yeah,
I'm really building up to the eventual extremely violent moment. That is the climax. Like it's way first it's Saga Man. That's how I'm
yeah.
presenting it. And when I say extremely violent, I mean somebody loses an internal organ.
Yeah, and again, just because somebody loses an internal organ, you don't have to show them losing it. You can make that stuff. People tell that people in dialogue. You know, you can take the story that you want, and I'd say I won't say dumb it down, but make it rate it, get it so it's rated lower. Alpha says,
Uh,
"What age range are you making the story for?" Yeah,
I mean, like, I mean, it's aimed at adults, but it has a little kid as a main character. Little kid as the main character. So,
yeah. Well, you you can have a little kid as the main character, and it not being that you know kids. Look at My Buddy or The Omen. Like the main or Firestarter. These are movies that have kid type stuff, or kid as the star, or like My Buddy, it's a puppet, or not My Buddy, Chucky, it's a puppet, or a kid's toy, but it ends up those are horror stories and they're meant for adults, not kids. So
mhm.
you can make a kid centric thing and make it for adults, rather than a kid centric thing and make it for kids. You just gotta figure out what age range you want to do it for, and figure out where you need to put, I guess, the violence, or just cover it up from jumping from one scene to another, and let a lot of insinuation go on in the mind. You know, a lot of people can put the pieces together if you give them enough pieces without showing them everything.
uh, uh, but the reason why I don't get why people are repulsed by the concept of a kid killing people in the story. I mean,
Yeah, well,
like what?
again, that the Omen is, you know, it's supposed to be the like kid of Satan or whatever, and he's killing people too. So they have different things about various uh movies where kids do kill, you know. So that's, yeah, that can be a touchy subject, and like I said, you have to find the right audience possibly for it. But if you write it right, or get it drawn right for the subject matter, you don't need to make it an R-rated story. But that's up to you. You can make it an R-rated story if that's what you want. I'm not saying not to. I'm just saying you have options.
Mhm. Like sometimes I don't actually. Sometimes I might not show him actually commit the violence, but do see the corpse mangle afterwards. So,
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
but not,
about. You see the one swipe from the kid as the tiger, were tiger, and then you see the mangled corpse afterwards. You know, so you show the aftermath of the actual violence, but and people get that the violence was committed.
mm, yeah,
Alpha says reminds me a little of Death Note. Teen encounters an entity that gives him powers. People can see teens doing stuff while easier than
yep.
kids.
But yeah, he's not 15 or 16 years old though. That's the thing. He's
Yeah,
younger than that.
he's a preteen.
Mm,
It's not like the kid's 5 years old. Like he's 12. You were saying so.
mm, yeah. So he's just literally just starting puberty, son. So
You've just got to decide what audience that you really want to sell it to. Know that, and you know, get some hopefully stuff drawn up by yourself or somebody that can do it justice, and then start finding an audience that appreciates that stuff. But you've also got
mm,
to articulate, I think, a little bit more when you're talking to people about the
mm.
story and all that. Because
Okay,
like you
because
said,
uh, because nobody wanted Goofanoid, which doesn't have any edgy shocking stuff like that. That's about a clown who uses Frank gadgets to fight these horror themed villains. What I tried to fund that 4 years ago.
yeah. Well, see, you're talking a lot of horror stuff, so you need to get into the market of where the horror stuff is. I
Like,
know that.
Goofanoid's not really a horror character. He's just I mean he doesn't even kill anybody. He's just more traditional superhero. He's a wacky comedy focused character
Yeah,
who
but
fights
you
against horror villains.
yeah, well, there's exactly it. He may not be horror, but his villains are horror themed.
Mm.
So if you're going to use, like I said, horror elements in your stuff, there's nothing wrong with as far as I'm concerned. Everybody has a right to do whatever they want. You need to find probably want to be going to marketing to the horror people, the people that like that horror stuff.
Mm.
And there are people out there. There's quite a bit. There's horror cons. You know.
Mm. I got goes to them once, but again, I don't have any money.
Yeah.
I spent the past 2 years trying to get employed. No one, no matter how many applications I signed, nobody ever called me back. So the comic I'm making right now using CGI about age of 22. I'm just doing it myself on this low end computer.
Alpha says kind of big bad Beetleborgs with a twist. Flabber the ghost grants the kids who wish they want to be superheroes in comics they read, but it releases the villains too. So that's who they fight. Yeah. And then Herman P. 100 says, embrace the horror, Rick. Embrace the horror.
Mm. Uh, um, yeah, uh, I mean, I was just messaging somebody. He was telling me, some guy was telling me, one of the character ideas I have. It's not meant to be a really major character, but I thought this character called Roachinator, which is like a mad scientist who turns himself into a cockroach in the laboratory, a lab experiment, and gets captured by the Australian government, who decides to use her to fight monsters when they pop up.
Yeah.
But that's an awful concept. Like, I mean, because it's a female roach monster. It's like roach mutant. I mean,
Well,
like,
you know what? It sounds interesting. It sounds like there's a possibility in it, as long as you spin it right, for lack of a better way of saying it. You could do something with it. You've just gotta, like I said, it's about finding your audience or knowing who your audience is.
mm,
Like you have a lot of horror elements in your stuff, so you are probably looking at trying to get a horror crowd interested in your
mm,
stuff. And if you can branch out from there, fine, but you know, you don't want you don't want to be trying to sell your stuff to somebody who's not interested in some of the stuff that's your thing. Like you don't want to be going into the middle of a church trying to sell these books. They're just not going to go. You know, but if you go to a
uh,
horror crowd, they might
then
go.
a lot of this stuff, some of this stuff aren't. Some of this stuff isn't gory. Like the one I'm working on right now
It,
is kind of a horror book, but it's not gory at all.
yeah, yeah. Well, see, horror doesn't always have to be gory either.
I know that. That's why I said the one I'm working on right now isn't really gory at all.
Alpha says they sound like one-shot horror stories. Well, they could be, or they could be ongoing, depending on what you do with them.
Mm,
But
yeah.
I was just trying to make a point by you you know it's like uh, you know, and for this is going to be a very crude um, example, and there's nothing meant by it. It's just a way to really emphasize my point. You don't really want to go trying to sell porn in a church because that's not where the crowd is for porn. Well, some of it is, unfortunately, but you know, it's in. You want to go to the community that's gonna buy your stuff or be into whatever you're selling. Like me, yeah. I've got superheroes and they're Christian superheroes. So yeah, some people that are into superheroes will get them, and hopefully a lot of Christians would get them too. But unfortunately, sometimes it's hard to get into the Christian market for whatever you're trying to
Yeah.
sell. But
Me personally, I'm just indifferent. I mean, I'm not a Christian, but at the same time, it's like, what is the as long as it's not like it's not like a bite. It's not like one of those other guys not dead movies or whatever. It's okay. It's okay.
yeah,
Whatever.
yeah, and
Uh,
that's fine. Either way is fine. Like it's everybody to their own. Yeah, sure. Would I like to see everybody come to Christ? Yes, but I can't force anybody to do anything.
yeah.
But uh, let's see.
I, I mean,
Go ahead.
I believe in Jesus, just not the same way you do.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And you know what? That's I guess fine. I get not sure how to put it, but I can't force anybody to believe the way that I believe. And you know what? There's nobody that believes exactly the same way that I believe because we're all
mm,
different human beings. But
mm,
and I was just using me as an example with my stuff. You know, you know, I wouldn't be. I don't want to take my stuff and try and sell it at an occult convention. It just wouldn't go. Or a Satanist convention or whatever. If I tried to sell my Christian books there or an atheist convention, It's just not gonna fly.
Mm.
You got to find the right market for whatever you're trying to sell, and it's hard sometimes. Sometimes even knowing where your market, trying to get into that market, can sometimes be hard, and make money doing
Yeah, because yeah, because I do like superheroes too. Just I try to experiment more, way more, a lot more
it. Yeah.
with power sets and whatnot,
Oh yeah.
and back and origin stories and whatnot. So
Same here. Like we were going over a couple origins of my, a couple of the villains earlier. We got talking about tentacles or whatever, and I showed a couple of my villains with what I said had tentacles, and I went over their thing, and we saw elements of like Wolverine, Batman, a couple other heroes, in there, and it's like, why aren't these characters heroes? Well, because they're bad guys.
no. But for me, it's the other way around. A lot of heroes in this world I'm creating seem more villainous on the surface in terms of not in terms of personality, but in terms of their powers or their aesthetic. Like like just as I mentioned earlier, Goofanoid is a clown, and he has these prank gadgets.
Let's see.
So I mean,
Alpha says, honestly, Cyberfrog reminds me of the tone of Fitzchoso's stories that's full of violence, and Cyberfrog is supposed to be the hero. Yeah. Well, because I haven't seen things fleshed out, we'll say, and, any images of the stuff, you know. Right now it speaks more horror. Cyberfrog, yeah, maybe. Well, the new Cyberfrog stuff. Maybe it's mildly horror. I don't know. I think.
no. No. Well, what I mean is, because when have you ever seen a prank gadget? Bro, it was always usually a villain.
Pardon?
When have you ever seen a prank gadget hero? It's always been always normally is always a villain.
Um, there's a couple. Something of 1,000 gadgets or gimmicks. Inspector Gadget.
I said prank gadget, like joke toys.
Yeah. They did that with the Tangent Universe, DC's Tangent Universe, with the Joker. It wasn't the Joker that you know. It was a set of three girls that went around using that sort of stuff. Um, and I think there's a couple others that I know of, but I can't think of them by
So,
And later,
yeah.
Herman, Alpha says those old 1990 cyberpunk stories are the anti-hero cyberpunk versus the battered guys slash local. Okay, well I haven't read any of the original Cyberfrog stuff, but it is 12:30. I was gonna be ending half an hour ago, so
Goodbye, Rick.
okay, so I'm gonna be ending. Anything you want to share out there, Fitz Chozo?
I want to say if you go to my which I can't share, but you probably seen the link before. Usually on my YouTube videos. Yeah, you can actually still buy the post of the buckler. No one's bought a single one because apparently not interested in buying a poster of the buckler made by me, drawn by me. But what is with it? The John Diller's buckler. You can buy you can buy that poster of him uh, from
Oh,
me
oh
if
yeah.
you
Well,
direct
maybe
my
put the link in the chat.
your home address. Uh, uh,
Either that or to your video. I know you did another video of that game that you were playing. I saw it come up. I haven't watched them
let's
yet,
see.
but uh, I saw it come up. Okay, so
Wait. Let me. The Ethan needs to chill out and let me link to that video.
yeah,
Share video.
yeah.
One more link. Okay, wait.
I'm gonna let you do that. Don't worry, I won't close before. I'm just gonna say, yeah. Thank everybody for coming around, and yeah, Alpha says good conversation. Yeah, for sure.
You
Uh,
you can you can still if you want you just direct message the director or send me one time payment of $18 and message me your the shipping address. That's and I'll send you the post of the buckler or ice on because I made one for him as well.
yeah, it's definitely hard to sell artwork. I've got loads of it that I've wanted to sell, but it's hard sometimes. So yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks for Shozo for coming on. Thanks everybody in the chat for coming around. It's been great having everybody here. Got some stuff done on Frogger. He's almost done except for that side view. It's really I gotta do that better next week.
Mm.
But yeah, so we'll see you all Thursday for the silhouette game. Hopefully you guys are here for that. I'm not sure what the topic is offhand. I gotta find out tomorrow or later today for me technically. So we'll see you all Thursday for the silhouette game. Bye for now. God bless. Love you all.